presidential hopeful making their way to the metro tonight. Republican candidate Vivek Ramaswamy took the stage around 6:40 this evening in Council Bluffs. The Ohio entrepreneur has been outspoken about his frustrations with GOP leadership, calling for the party's national committee chairwoman to step down multiple times. He's currently polling in the single digits behind a number of other GOP presidential candidates. 6 News was live at the event tonight, where Ramaswamy acknowledging that Iowa's upcoming caucuses.
We're getting close to game time here in Iowa. You all have a choice to make less than 60 days from now, or about 60 days from now. Okay, who's going to lead this country? We require, I think, a commander-in-chief right now in this moment in our history who, first of all, knows that we're in a war. You can't win a war unless you know that you're in one.
And Ramaswamy also answered moderated questions, that is, including topics of foreign policy, religion, and how he would approach relations with China.
Nebraska Senator